Is YouTube the best platform to start as a new content creator? Yes. Yes. It's a 100% meritocracy. Good content rises to the top. Bad content falls to the bottom. And so when you're worried about your bad content, don't worry, no one's going to see it. Now, keep in mind, the definition of good and bad is not my definition, it's not your definition, it's the algorithm's definition. So where people get frustrated with that phrasing is they're like, well, Jake Paul's bigger than you guys. Are you saying his content's better than yours? Algorithmically, yes. Do I think it benefits society in the same ways? No, I would say its value to society is different than ours. But algorithmically, it's better. So, you may find yourself, if you have 3 videos you want to make, not saying make anything you don't want to make, but if you have 3 videos you want to make, you may find that one of them will do better algorithmically than the other 2. You should do that one. Don't make anything you don't want to make. But within the realm, ideas are cheap. So you can think of 100 videos you want to make, and you only have time to make 10 of them. Make the 10 that are going to do best, man. Because that's the ones people want. That's the ones the algorithm wants. Go do that. So. YouTube's way easier. Twitch is, the directories are sorted by the number of people watching. So getting started is really hard. And so the vast majority of people on Twitch should go make something on YouTube and build a community over there, because the YouTube algorithm doesn't care. It will push things. I was watching Asmongold's stream the other day, and in his search results was one of my videos with 2,000 views, right above a video with 768,000 views and a video with 290,000 views. And my video was in his search results on my personal channel, which has 4,000 subscribers. He had 39,000 people watching him. He had, 9 times the people watching him as my channel even has subscribers, and it showed up in his search traffic. That does not happen on Twitch. It doesn't. So, we're always excited for new content creators. I want to see what people are excited about. There is a different perspective. If you've gone and watched any of the Endwalker reaction trailers, right, where people go in and it shows their face in the Endwalker, it is fascinating to watch people who are super into story and what parts excite them. And people, you know, we watched Night Sky Prince, and he went back and slowly tuned through the music. Dude, did you see this transition in the music? No, I didn't. What a cool way to look at things. And so I want to see what you're excited about. And so a new player, share your new experience. A veteran player, share your veteran experience. There is something about your life experience and where you are coming at content from, whether it be for 14 or otherwise, that makes you unique. And you are most qualified to be you. And so that is your unfair advantage. You are better at being you than anybody else. Nobody else can be more you than you. So go play to your unfair advantage. Go play to your strength. And so if you're super into learning how to edit crazy cool edits, then make cool edits. If you're super into just showing your face and talking, then just show your face and talk. If you're super into gameplay, just show gameplay. If you're super into teaching people, make guides. If you're super into opinions, make opinions. Go do you. You know, maybe you're a musician by trade and you can analyze the music in games and come at it from that angle. Maybe you're an architect and you can analyze the architecture in games. Just go do you. And go keep leaning into that. And that'll make you a better you. It'll make your content better content. It should all be a natural extension of that. And so if you've been streaming fighting games, what does a fighting game player, just as a question, what does a fighting game player feel about rotations in MMOs? That's not my background. You know? We had somebody one time come in and they said they want to make content, but like they just really struggle because like it's already hard for them because they don't have hands. It's just already hard for them to play games and they want to make content, but they really struggle to think about what kind of content to make because they don't have hands. How do you play Final Fantasy without hands? Jax, thanks for the Prime sub. Well, I have these feet controllers that I use. And you don't know what content to make? I'm fascinated. Like, tell me where to click on that video. I want to see people doing Savage with their feet. But that is a totally normal experience to them. That is how they've lived their whole life. There is something about you and your life experience that maybe at first doesn't seem that extreme that makes you unique. Well, I don't know. My life is kind of boring because, like, my parents traveled a lot, and so, like, I just spend all my time in school learning languages. And so, like, I don't know, like, I'm really not that exciting. I'm just like a normal person that speaks Japanese and French and German. There's nothing normal about that. Can you compare the cutscenes for me and tell me what the differences are and the meanings between the different games? Well, I don't really do much. I just sketch a lot. Talk about the art in this game. There is something that makes you unique. Go be you. Go be you. Sometimes that's something incredibly personal. Sometimes people that, you know, sometimes people in this community are sharing something about their lifestyle. They're trans or they're LGBT or you know, like LGBTQIA. That whole community is something that, like, I really do my best to understand, and I just don't. And, like, I have friends, and so, like, I have people I can ask, and it continually is something that is always something I'm learning more about because it's not me. I'm just a cis white male. And so when they share their experience in games and they talk about representation in games, all I can do is listen. And so there is something about you that all I can do is listen. I don't know how you do it. And so it can seem really obvious when you're a world first raider that you're going to come in and you're like, yeah, I beat all the Savages first try. You know? Any recommendations for editing software that's simple and affordable regarding making videos? Start with whatever's on your computer. If you're on Mac, start with whatever that is, iMovie. If you're on, just, we use Adobe, but it's $55 a month. So, like, start, the best camera you can use is the camera you have. The best software you can use is the software you have. Start with whatever you have. At the beginning, your edits are going to need to be really simple. I filmed me talking, and I need to cut off the part at the beginning where I stuttered, and I need to cut off the part at the end where I finished talking and hadn't clicked stop. Okay. Anything can do that. Start with what you got. And as soon as you run into limits that cannot do, improve. Audio is the number one thing you should improve first and foremost, because people that listen with headphones, no matter how good your content is, will leave if you have bad audio. You could have a 120p camera that you're just, like, looking off this way filming, and you will be able to retain viewers better with good audio than fixing that. So, fix your audio. Blue makes a couple. Snowball is, I think, one of their entry points. We use Yetis. That's the next one up. That's still, depending on where you're at. There are some good lapel mics and stuff that plug into, like, things like phones out there. So there's a number of mics out there. Get audio quality that does not hurt people when they listen to you in headphones. Get your audio levels where it's comfortable in headphones. And then pick an audio level. Like, I look for things to be in the yellow, and when I'm really talking like that, it needs to just hop to the red, and it didn't peak. It didn't hit the end of the bar. And that's where I want to be. I want to be like where I'm talking like this, and it's just barely touching yellow, and I do this, and it went to the top of the red. And I adjust my settings so that hopefully everything I just did there where I was intentionally modulating my voice. And so if you think you're uniquely generic, what makes you uniquely generic? You play a little of a lot of games? You play a lot of one game? Average describes all of us. No one person is average. It's just mathematically not the case. And it would be unique if someone was. Nobody is uniquely generic. You take for granted all of the things that feel most natural to you. You were born a blank slate, and you were raised and exposed to life experiences that made you good at the things you're good at and bad at the things you're bad at. You were never taught to ride a bike, so you don't know how to ride a bike. You were taught to cook eggs, so you know how to cook eggs every morning. You were taught to be the person you are. And your response to the things you were taught is based on who you were born as. So it is a mix of nature and nurture. And so two genetically identical people raised by different families are different. Honestly, two genetically identical people raised by the same. My brothers are identical twins, and they are two different people. And they had a lot of the same life experiences. If you talk to my dad and you talk to his brother about growing up in the same home, they seem to have two different parents. Just because of how they responded. And so you are a mix of those things. Something about you is unique, I promise. It's just, at this point, it's not even some like, oh, that's a nice thing to think. No, it's just math. You mathematically cannot be what all of us are. You can't. There is something that separates you from every other person on the internet. So you just got to find that thing and lean into it. I love comparing things. I use analogies, similes, and metaphors in everyday life every day. And I tend to drone on to make my point. Which means I can take a one-sentence thing and I can look for the nuance in it and the gray area in it, and I can talk about it for 10 and 20 minutes. And if you want to know what that looks like as a YouTube channel, go hit subscribe. That's all it is. That's me. I don't have gaming experiences other people don't have. My life experiences, I'm a middle-class white male who grew up in the US with access to things I needed and not access to everything I wanted. That's pretty basic. But that other thing is kind of right up my alley. So when people are like, well, you should really like go in and master all the savages. That's not really right up my alley. Right up my alley is being a jack of all trades. So I am better off, for me and my content creation and my own personal joy, learning Guild Wars 2 than mastering Ultimates in 14. I'm not saying I'll never get to Ultimates in 14, but trying other games is more up my alley. And it's more up the alley that my content is. Streaming is a muscle that has worked. Being able to talk continuously like this is something that takes stamina and takes training. People who naturally are good at it as children did it a lot as children. I got a lot of detentions for talking in class. And so that muscle is built up. People who like running as adults are seen as good runners. But it's a mix. A lot of times when you see behind the scenes with some of the best vocalists in the world, a lot of times singing was something that helped them. It's not uncommon for them to have something about the way they talk that they don't like, an accent they have, a stutter they have, something like that. A musical person in their family that music was the only thing they could relate through. A lot of times they got good at music because they practiced, and they practiced because it was something that got them where they wanted to be. It allowed them to communicate with someone in their life, or maybe strangers, or overcome being in front of people. Music gave them something, and in trade, they gave time and energy to it. When you have a kid that is ahead of their pace, they are seen as a genius. They are seen as this brilliant thing because they're doing something at 5 years old that they shouldn't be able to do until they're 15. And we have all sorts of words for that describe that. Because they're naturally way ahead of the curve, and it's mysterious how they got there. But when you're 35 and 40 that are good at something, It's just practice. You've lived long enough, you've been on this earth long enough, you've had enough hours in the day that something in your life you sought improvement at, and it's not magic that you're good at it. You want to be really good at something, practice. You don't know how to draw today and you want to get better at drawing, practice. It's that simple. Anybody can draw with enough time. Yes, there is somebody that had better hand-eye coordination, and so out of the gate, as an 8-year-old, they outdrew the other 8-year-olds. But we were talking with a guy who helps us kind of negotiate sponsorships this week, and he's our... and he was looking at the analytics of Brian's channel and my channel and Work to Game, and we were kind of looking at different advertisers and stuff that he can approach and all that. Gaming Kinda has 0 viewers under the age of 18. 0%. Hundreds of thousands of views. According to Google, the number of people under the age of 18 that watch Gaming Kinda is either 0 or a number so low over the total that it rounds down to 0. Which means, on average, Gaming Kinda tends to go towards a group of people who have had multiple decades on this earth. There is something you were good at that you weren't good at when you started. Because we've all been alive long enough that you've made it that far. So maybe you went to college for something. You know, there's this whole trend on like SimCity stuff where there's city planners playing SimCity. What a fascinating viewpoint. Where do I get my materials for crafting? Gathering or the market board. I check the market board. If they're not outrageous, I buy them. If they're outrageous, I go gather them. So. Yeah, so when people ask, how do I get into content creation, or how do I get better at Savage, or whatever, it's literally just practice. When we see something like the Olympics, or we see something like a world first race, we're seeing the end of a very long journey. And so it's very easy to see how, you know, when Fortnite blew up, Ninja shot to the top, and everybody saw it as luck. Luck is preparedness meets opportunity. You have no ability to control when the door is going to come knocking. I was invited to do an Extreme and Savage on a much lower level. I was invited to do Extreme and Savage with Lama Todd this Saturday. That's an opportunity. Had no idea it was coming. Had no idea to prep for it. No idea until this morning that this was really going to happen. No idea. Thanks for subscribing. Ricky, thank you so much. And so I had no knowledge it was coming. That's the opportunity. All you can do is, as much as possible, be prepared for it. Thanks for subscribing. And that can be as simple as your boss asking you to do something that's not normally your job, and then that ends up lining you up for a promotion down the line. All I can control is the preparedness. Thanks for subscribing. And so when Ninja got really big, a lot of people thought, what a lucky guy. And he is lucky. Because that opportunity is a rare combination of a number of factors. But if you go back and look who he is and what his background is, he was uniquely prepared to take advantage of that opportunity. Whether or not you like Justin Bieber, Justin Bieber's musical talents, John Mayer's musical talents are incredible. Lamp, thank you. And so when you look at their musical talents, it's easy to see when you see some crazy drama around like what a musical artist is doing with their fame and fortune. It's like, oh, how did they even get this opportunity? You subscribed. Justin Bieber can play like 13 instruments. Well. Subscriber. So, when given the opportunity, hundreds, possibly thousands of kids his age were given an opportunity to perform in a place that an agent may have overheard them, or something that could have led to a musical career. What set him apart is not the opportunity. The opportunity, while it didn't hit you and me, it did hit a lot more than him. What made him successful is that he was the most prepared of everybody that was given that opportunity. He ran into Usher in a hotel lobby. How many times has Usher been in a hotel lobby? How many hundreds or thousands of people have been somewhere that they go, dude, I saw Usher today. I saw him I saw him at a coffee shop. I saw him in an airport. I saw him in a hotel lobby. Only one of them became Justin Bieber. If I run into Usher tomorrow, I don't get to be the next Justin Bieber because I can't do what he could do.